Hello, this is Richard from Beyond Marathon. Today I'm going to tell you about the Gritstone Grind. So this is our event briefing. We're not going to have the usual briefing on the start line this year because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So I'm going to take you through everything you would need to know. Also, of course, read the guidebook, which hopefully you found the link to this video from. So read all the information in that. We've updated also the risk assessment that's in there as well, which we need for our insurance and everything else. So do read all of that information. But I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the course itself and what to expect on the day. So this is the route. You're starting in Kidsgrove and ending in Disley. There is no coach travel this year from the finish to the start, so everybody is starting at Kidsgrove, and we've got a reduced capacity, almost half of the usual event capacity, so we can try and keep everybody as safe as possible. So let me zoom into Kidsgrove here. Now the start is from Kidsgrove train station. Now because Kidsgrove train station has got a car park here, and the way the car park is laid out, it's not particularly friendly to a lot of cars turning up and trying to turn around. It would be a headache, a social distancing headache as well for everybody trying to maneuver around them. So what we're asking is that everybody drops you off here on the main road going through Kidsgrove. If you're coming from this way, you'll pass a Tesco's around about here. So just come past there and you'll see a sign for Kidsgrove train station. Please get everyone to drop you off. Important, just to reiterate what says in the guidebook, the toilets are not open. There's usually some public toilets which are here. Now they're not currently open at the moment. No idea when they will be. You can't go to the toilet in the bushes around Kidsgrove. As you can tell, this is a massively populated area, and I will get complaints. The race will end up being cancelled, so do not go to the toilet. You're going to have to hang on to it until you're out in open countryside somewhere else. So go to the toilet before you get to the event. This isn't like a marathon where you need to load up with as much water as possible. Just have whatever you want in the morning and carry your water with you. You don't need to drink vast quantities of water in the morning so you're fit to burst on the morning of the race. So turn up, get dropped off here, walk the rest of the way through to the station, and then you are ready to race. Okay, so we're going to register you as per the guidelines in the event guide, and then you will cross the start line mat, which will set your individual clock running, so that you can start any time between 7 and 8, but your 12-hour timer starts at that point in time, as do the cut-off times which are in the guidebook. So the cut-off times are based on a 7 o'clock start, and if you of course start at 8 o'clock, you would use those times. What you can't do is start at 7 o'clock and think, well, rather than having 12 hours, I've got 13 hours to do it. It doesn't work that way. The cut-off times for you personally and for the individual checkpoints as well as the end is still the strict 12 hours. Okay, so you're going to start off initially by running along this first canal, and then very soon you end up switching over to this other canal here. So you're taking a right and going up to this second canal, and you will scoot all the way along the canal until you get to bridge number 87, and you will exit the canal at bridge 87, and then you're going to start picking up signs for the Gritstone Trail. If you've looked inside your guidebook, let me see if I can bring up a copy of the guidebook. The guidebook tells you the kind of signs that you're going to be seeing on the Gritstone Trail. More or less always it will have these type of signs. I think there's one on the way up to Mowcop, which is this first section after Bridge 87. You might just see a regular sign, but for the most part you will generally see Gritstone Trail signs that look like the ones in the book. Okay, so you've got, as you can hopefully tell from the contour lines here, there is a little bit of a climb right the way up to Mowcop, which is a little folly castle on top of the hill, very easy to see. And once you're at the top there, you head up past Mowcop and then continue to pick up the Gritstone Trail and go right the way down the trail. And some people use the trail, some people use the road in various sections here. You head right the way down until you get to to Congleton Edge, and then you turn right and continue on the Gritstone Trail. Follow it right the way down until you pass under a railway bridge, an old railway bridge. It doesn't exist anymore. This train line doesn't here. As soon as you've gone under that bridge, you turn left and go up some steps and join this this little train line here. Be very careful not to overstay your welcome on this train line, because this train line extends right the way through up to here. So it is not uncommon for people to miss the Gritstone Trail sign, which is pointing right, taking you into some trees and over a couple of fields, and they end up carrying on and end up here somewhere. So just pay very close attention that you're only on this trail. I think it's for a couple of kilometres. It's about 2.2 kilometres, I believe. So you're probably not going to be on that for any more than 10 minutes, depending on how fast you're travelling. So perhaps take a look at your watch, see how far you're up to if you've got a GPS watch, and look out after the 2 kilometre mark from joining this this train line that you turn off through the trees. So there's quite a big sign there, but depending on how the foliage is grown, it might be somewhat obscured. It generally is pretty easy to see. You then head across some fields and around a farm here. I think there's a slightly new route that takes you around this farm, and you will turn right and run a few hundred metres up the lane until you get to Timbersbrook picnic area, which you can just about see there. So that's our checkpoint 1 area at Timbersbrook picnic area. After you've been there and we've followed all the guidelines which you can see in your guidebook, you're then going to head up to the Cloud, which is a nice little vantage point. On this section and through various parts of the Gritstone, there are new stiles and new gates which have been put in place in the last couple of years. So you'll head up to the Cloud, and one thing that isn't shown on here, but your tracking device that you're going to carry, your tracking device has got will check you into all of the checkpoints, but it also will check you into the into some virtual checkpoints as well. What do I mean by virtual checkpoints? You don't really need to worry about them. They're invisible. Basically, we've set up a checkpoint, for example, on the Cloud, and that's got a radius all the way around it, and when you pass that, it checks that you've been the right way and logs you a time in it automatically, and that's to avoid people taking shortcuts or short routes or thinking they'll run around the road and things like that. So this isn't a point-to-point fastest time you can get from Disley to Manchester, from Kidsgrove to Disley, because as you could see, you could shortcut various sections of this and end up with a shorter route. That isn't the idea. The idea is that you follow the Gritstone Trail itself. So in order to do that, we are going to keep we'll put these little virtual checkpoints all over the place, which you'll pass invisibly, and they will check you in, and it'll record a time on the leaderboard, on the leaderboard that I see anyway. So the leaderboard I'm going to show you up here has got 3 main checkpoints on there, which is Timbersbrook, the Riles Arms, Oakham Banks, and the finish point, and it'll record a time as you go through them. But it will also record a time for me when you go past the virtual checkpoints as well. Okay, so once you've come down off the Cloud, you'll head down the track here, down a little lane, turn left. You start heading down this road. Keep an eye out for a right turn in the hedgerows that keeps you on the Gritstone Trail. Don't go sailing down this road here. Again, nice and straightforward. You're following the Gritstone Trail across these fields and areas. Now then, when you cross the main road at this point in time, and beware, this can be quite a busy road here. Once you've crossed it, you will then follow a sign across and join what's called a kind of conduit. It's almost like a little old canal. Now, depending on how busy Cheshire Council have been, that may or may not have a lot of undergrowth through it. Sometimes they go through and run a great big mower and cut it all down. If they haven't, then my advice is don't go through the gate and join the conduit. You can actually run beside here. It's not officially the Gritstone Trail, but it wouldn't be passable, or it'd be very nettly and things like that. Sometimes it's absolutely wonderful. It's like, running through a fantastically well-cut grassy area, but if they haven't maintained it this year, then it's sometimes better just to stay the other side of the hedge and just follow it all the way around. So you'll go right the way along until you get to a point here which is a crossroads. There's a tarmac road which runs along here, a gravel track. There's a footpath that continues straight ahead, but you almost turn left on yourself and go down here, cross a bridge, and be careful at this point in time here that once you've crossed the bridge, you don't continue up the road and end up at Barleyford Farm. These people are always getting people walking into their drive, so not from our race, just in general, from usually DV and things like that. So just make sure you leave at this sharp right corner and follow the Gritstone Trail right the way through across these fields. Probably the one trickiest area, and I'm not sure if they've put a new sign on this, on the whole Gritstone Trail, is this junction here. At this point in time, you go into what I would best describe as a tunnel of trees. You'll head into an area that's almost in like a little ditch, and once you head along that, there is a left-hand turn. So the Gritstone Trail turns left, but there is also a trail which continues on as well, which you don't want to follow because it's not helpful in getting you to where you want to be. So you want to turn left and head up the hill that you've been running alongside. So you'll zigzag up this little hill a little bit, and then you'll join a tarmac lane. It's more like a farm track really, which you'll go right the way through till the very end, and then take very great care as you go over this. This again is another busy. It's a country lane, but it can get busy. Motorcyclists and all sorts of things come scooting over this, so be very careful on this very short section of road that you will cross, turn left, and then turn right onto the Gritstone Trail, which leads you all the way up to the Croker Hill transmitter station. So the Croker Hill transmitter has got a great big concrete microwave transmitter and mobile phone, everything like that. You can see it for miles. So you're going to head up to that there, and then continue past it on a farm track. Be careful once you've just gone past the transmitter not to follow the farm track back on yourself and down here. There's a very clear, straight ahead, grassy track, and there's a stile just about there, and you go over that stile, and that again is the Gritstone Trail. Follow it all the way down and round until you get to the road here. Now, the Gritstone Trail officially, just by this Rossendale house, cuts across and comes out at about there. Now, because we have got a checkpoint at the Riles Arms, then we are going to instead, we was just asking you, as soon as you hit the road, turn right, head all the way up to the Riles Arms. Very important to say, pay attention in the guidebook, supporters are not allowed at the Riles Arms this year. Normally it's you can't stay within half a mile of the checkpoints because of COVID-19. Another reason is the pub in the last couple of years has been getting inundated with people who are using the car park, and basically they need to make a lot of money out of people coming in for meals. So if there's 20 cars filled up there, and some people might be buying a coffee or something, some people might be buying nothing, the pub is losing a massive amount of trade, and we've got a real danger of losing that checkpoint entirely if we don't change the behaviour of the crews who are turning up there. So essentially this year, mainly because of COVID, don't go to any of our checkpoints. Someone could meet you further down the road here, alternatively they could meet you here, and lots of other places as well, but don't go to the Riles Arms pub at all, and neither go to checkpoint 1 or checkpoint 3. Please meet you at other places. So once you've been to the Riles Arms pub, you'll head down the lane, and just at the bottom here you take a little right turn, head up over the Gritstone Trail, and you scoot. I won't go into a lot of detail about the section. It's clearly a nice little farmland section. You head over in the fields, very easy to follow until you head down to the road here, and you'll turn right just after the reservoir and go into Tegsnose Country Park. Tegsnose Country Park, it's a short, sharp, steep little climb that will let you know what your quads are for again. There's a few of those in this event, and you'll go around until you get to this area here. Now, there is a cafe here. I'm not sure it's open under the pandemic, but that is usually a very popular place for supporters to go. So even if it isn't open, there's a car park there, so that's really an excellent place for most people to do some cheering for you or resupply you if you've got a crew. Once you've exited the car park, you go straight on here and then turn left to pick up the Gritstone Trail again. Nice and easy sections to follow here. And once you get to this road, just be careful again, this is quite a busy road, it's the A537. You turn right just on this corner and you go down into this valley very steeply and then straight back up again. Again, it's all well signposted. What is very tempting for some people to do is go, oh, do you know what, I'm just going to run straight along this road here. Well, there is a virtual checkpoint on this section here which will tag you into it. So we will know if you've been the right way because there will be a time in the checkpoint, and if you've run straight along the road there won't be, so we know you've gone the wrong way. So remember, it's not shortest route, which clearly that is. It's the safest route and also following the Gritstone Trail, so make sure you do follow this section right the way through very carefully. And once you get to the end, you turn left then right, head up Kerridge Hill and along to the end here, which isn't shown I don't think, but there's a little monument called White Nancy on there, which is a little white bell-shaped monument, which in all honesty is very rarely white because they paint it with all sorts of weird and wonderful decorations for various holidays and things like that. But you know you're in the right place because there's little White Nancy here. So when you get to the top, there's several routes off the top here. Just take a right kind of 2 o'clock run right the way down. Path's a little bit indistinct. If you went the wrong way, it's not the end of the world because you just hit this track at the bottom and you turn right anyway. So just follow that right the way down and follow the Gritstone Trail signs through here. This is Sabio House, which is a kind of retreat type of area. You'll go through a little wood and come up to the final checkpoint at Oakham Banks, a little hill as you approach here. Once you've been to Oakham Banks, you will go straight on to this point in time, which is a little crossroads area. Go straight across, and the route here has changed a little bit. Normally the Gritstone Trail would turn you right at this point in time and you go up and cross a little old stone bridge and it rejoins up a little bit later. Last year or the year before they closed that bridge because it's an ancient bridge and it's going to collapse. So there is a footpath divert sign which basically takes you a little bit further on and then you turn up a farm track. In all honesty, I'll tell you a secret, that way is quicker than that way anyway. So follow the official GPX or follow the official footpath divert and go up this past Barristal Hall Farm. This is a long, slow climb which will drain you a little bit as you go right the way up to Brink Farm up here at the top. Turn right on the country lane and then left along again. Very, very gentle climb up past Spons Hill. I think there's a little trigonometry point on the top of there. And when you get to this point, there is a split in the Gritstone Trail. There is one way that tells you to go this way and one way that tells you to go that way. Now this way takes you into Lime Park. Let me flip over to the leisure map. I think it shows it a little bit better. Yeah, okay, so this is the National Trust Lime Park. It's Mr. Darcy's house for the ladies amongst you who've seen the BBC adaptation of Pride and Prejudice. Now then, when you go down here, generally after 4:30, this is closed at the moment, but very kindly the ranger at Lime Park, Chris, has arranged for that to be open for us. Now if that changes for any reason, I will let you know, and instead you would follow the alternative Gritstone route which goes around here instead. But it's far prettier to have this lovely run down the hill through the woods, then up through the car park of the Gritstone Trail and past the house. Just one thing to be aware of here that's called Cage Hill. There's a hunting lodge, like a little castle tower, and people get a little bit fixated on it as they come up past the house and suddenly take a left and start heading for this little tower. Don't do that because you end up coming out the wrong gate, a long way, and you end up on the main road up there. Do stay with the stately home which is here on your right hand side and follow it right the way through, and ultimately you'll end up coming out at the end of the Gritstone Trail. Now the Gritstone Trail officially ends just down here at the Disley train station. So when you get to this track and you see some steps leading down to the train station, don't do that. If you did, it's not the end of the world because you'll just go to the main road and turn right. But you'll save yourself about a minute and a half or 2 minutes if you turn right and basically head right the way along this little track and to the finish here, which is at the Disley Community Centre. And please read the guidelines in the book about what is happening at the finish. In other words, we don't have access to much of the building. It's essentially just to drop off your chip, drop off your tracker, collect your award, and then go. Okay, so hopefully that has given you a reasonable overview of what to expect. What I'm looking at here is actually the GPS tracking page, which you or your supporters will be using on the day. So on the day there will be a big long list of participants down here, and if for some reason you misplace yourself on the route and you've got mobile signal, you could in theory load the URL, click on the participants, type in your name or your tracker number, and once it appears you can click on the little magnifying glass next to your name, and it would zoom right into wherever you are on the map and show a little circle with your tracker number on there. And if you saw that you were over here, then you could very easily drop back down and put yourself on the right route. So the tracking URL will also allow your crew to navigate to you in the event that you are lost. So again, a little icon appears next to your name, which looks like a little Google icon flag, and that will allow them to click on you, and it would launch the navigation and they would get directly to you. Same goes for the checkpoints in here. If I go into the leaderboard, if your crews aren't allowed to go to the checkpoints this year, but in future times, or if they wanted to get into the vicinity of them, if they click on this little icon here, it would navigate them from where their current position is to the checkpoints. So it's an easy way of being able to find their way around the route as well. Okay, I think that's probably gone through everything we need to say on this event, but we look forward to seeing you in September for what is a slightly different version of the Gritstone under the COVID conditions, but we're going to try and keep you as safe as possible. So observe all the guidelines in the book, and we'll see you bright and early on Sunday, September the 6th. Thank you very much.